Hi everyone, welcome to Production Operations Management, Chapter 4, Forecasting. In this video, we are going to present some time series methods that are discussed in the textbook. So we are going to start with the moving averages method. It's a very simple method. What it does is you have to just determine how many past periods that you want to use to determine the forecast, and then you take the average of those periods. For example, if I am in December right now, yes we are, and if I want to determine the demand for January, I look at these values. These numbers could be in thousands or maybe in hundreds of thousands. Well, we have simple numbers and I just use the same ones in the textbook. So we decided to use 3-month moving average. So that means we are going to take the past 3 periods. Is this the best one? We don't know. We could just use 2, 4, 5, whatever it is, or 1, which is called the naive method. So if I take the 3-month moving average, so I just need to take the average of the 3 periods here. And I can say that average of the 3 periods is 16. So I'm going to expect that in January, my sales would be 16 whatever units. And is this a good number, and is there a better forecasting method? In order to say that, we have to use a number of different forecasting methods, and then what we have to do is we have to choose the one that has the smallest error. And we have a number of error measures to use: MAD, MAPD, and MSE, and you are going to see them in your textbook. And here we are going to just describe how to calculate them. So to calculate these, what we have to do is we have to just check if this method that we are using is good for the historical data set that we have as well. For example, if I just copy and paste this over, so just go to the corner, drag up, and I'm just going to stop dragging at April because if I just double click on April, it takes the average of the past 3. I cannot go to March because I don't have 3 past data here. So how good is this method compared to others? We have to look at it for April. Let's say we didn't know we are in April and we didn't know what's going to happen in April. We were going to say that April is going to take a value of 11.67, but April is now 16. So there is some kind of an error that we are making. And for May, we have an error. For June, we have an error, etc. So the error is called the deviation. What we have to do is we have to take the deviation and calculate it. That is going to be the difference between the data itself, the historical data, minus our forecast. And here we are underestimating the demand. And if you look at it, all the values here, for a while we are underestimating the demand, and then we are overestimating the demand. Okay? So that has something to do with the method that we are using, and I ask you a question in the forum. Now, what we have to do is we just wanted to take the average error in here. So we are going to take the absolute value of the error. We don't care if it is overestimation or underestimation. We are going to just drag this down. The one thing that we only care about over or underestimation, if we just overestimate or underestimate every time, that means we have a biased method. But in this case, we are not as biased because we are sometimes overestimating and sometimes underestimating. Then, these are all our errors in our forecast. We are going to take the average of those errors. That's called the MAD. So that's going to be the average of the absolute deviation. Mean, absolute deviation, MAD. Okay? So this is how you calculate this. This is your average error, over or underestimation. If I use another method and if I get an error that's lower than this value, then I would trust that method than this method more, because it's going to give me less error in size. So MAPD is another error measure. So you can use one of these, MAD, MAPD, or MSE. And I'm going to calculate MAPD and MSE for this one, but I'm going to require you to calculate those two as well for the remaining ones. I'm not going to calculate them myself. So MAPD looks at the percentage error. For example, this is good for mostly for the data with trend, because let's say right now you are selling 10,000 units and you are making an error size of 1,000, and maybe 5 years from now you're using the same method, but now your sales are increased to 100,000 and you're still making an error size of 1,000. So now you have the same amount of error, but you have low error because compared to the sales, your percentage error is less. So this is a more maybe a more robust measure to use, but you have to know all the measures. So the absolute deviation divided by the data itself. So it's going to be the absolute deviation divided by the sales data. And we take these values, and then we are going to take the average of those values. And that is 34%, which is a large error, right? So in terms of percentage, whenever you do a forecast, let's say here we are saying 16, you have about 34% higher or lower than the demand and error size, which is kind of a large value. MAD, it's kind of hard to say that. MSE, on the other hand, is similar to MAD, but it gets a square to get rid of the negative values. And we are going to take the square of the deviation. So we take this one and then get the exponent sign and square it. And you just can use, so maybe just 2 digits accuracy is sufficient. Okay. So those are my errors in squares. Then I will take the average. And here is the average, 47.64. Now you pick one of these measures and then try a different number of forecasting methods, and whichever gives you a lower value in terms of the error, then you are going to choose that forecasting measure to forecast for the future. You know that your forecast is not going to be correct, but it's going to be close to correct. That's sufficient enough. So I'm going to stop this video here. I decided to just create one video for every method. That's going to be maybe better, because short video you are not going to get bored and sleep on your screen. Bye for now.